Beep boop, beep boop. I'm doing this right now. Beep boop, beep boop. 10 years ago, instant voice translation was just a sci-fi dream. And now we are seeing more and more apps and devices offering this instant voice translation in dozens of languages. In order to prepare this video, I started looking the apps and products available for voice translation. And I found, I don't know, hundreds of different apps that offer speech translation, meaning you speak directly to the app and it translates in another language, and sometimes it offers like text to speech, so it reads back the translation to you. What is interesting is that most of these apps and products actually use the same technology. Translation apps developed by Google, Microsoft, Amazon, maybe. I cannot know for sure what they are using, but what is sure is that they are just using this technology with a nice design. And I actually found one that is very interesting. So I found this company. There are a lot of companies like that offer physical products for translation. What is quite interesting is that actually it's just small smartphones. I actually found one of them that you can buy for around $100 online. And they just buy a cheap smartphone and install their language translation app and then sell it for a little bit more expensive, as you can see. So what is interesting is like it shows that the demand on the market is probably that a lot of people are expecting voice translation not to be a free app they can download on their phone, but probably something like a physical object that is very high tech. And even though they have an obvious translation mistake on the French language demo,
le plus performant traducteur vocal parle juste comme ça.
These technology is actually a great opportunity for language teaching, because this technology is not going to replace the language learning industry altogether. So if you're a language teacher, you don't have to worry, I guess. If you're an interpreter, yes, you are fucked. You should change your career. I'm sorry. But as a language teacher and developer who loves this kind of toys, I see a lot of opportunities there. I mean, with this technology, you can create a lot of features on your website or app that can be very valuable for language learners. For example, you can add a whole new level of interaction with prompts for the user to actually talk to the app, so you can have voice recognition that check if what they are saying makes sense, if it's correct, and also if it's what is expected by the app. For example, translating something, repeating something, pronouncing something correctly, what I definitely need, these type of things. And so that will bring the user a little bit closer to what is really valuable. As you probably know, and most people agree on, that conversation is really good for language learning and for practicing. So by bringing voice and translation to your app, you're creating an experience that is a bit closer to what it looks like in real life to speak a language. So I decided to build a small app, not really an app, but just like a feature that will do language translation between two languages, French to Polish, Polish to French, and it will be able to do it with voice. So I will be able to just press a button, speak French to the app, and the app will translate and answer to me, speak to me the answer in Polish. The app will just basically have two buttons and two text fields, so we can see what is said in a written format. That would be very useful to make sure that the app understands what I'm saying and is not translating something wrong. In order to build this app, I will use different tools. The first one is Vue.js. It's a JavaScript framework. With this framework, we will handle most of the user interface of the app. The second thing is Vuetify. Vuetify is a framework as well that will give us the design components. I will use JavaScript to code the logic of the app, but basically what the code will do is just use different services that will handle more complex tasks. The first service I will use is basically speech recognition. This is available directly in Google Chrome in HTML5. The browser will be able to understand when we speak to the browser as long as we predefine which language is expected. Then the second service we will call is the Google Translate API. Basically, we'll send data to Google, to one of the Google services for developers. We'll send a text and the target language, the origin language and the target language. So this text is in French and I want it in Polish, and it will return to us the text in Polish. And the last thing we'll use is the Easy Pronunciation API. So again, a service will just call another server, another app that will give us just the sound, the audio for the text that is appearing in the app. So that's it basically, so let's build it. Okay, so I have my environment set up for building this small app, this small feature. So what I'm using here is, as I said, Vue.js, so it's a framework. So far I will just use a small code with a few fields. Okay, so the first task would be to create the two fields for input and output in the translation. So I will do that quickly right now. Okay, so now I have my two fields. So I can write something in a language and then it will be translated in the other language here. But of course we want audio translation, so we won't work directly on the translation. Now what we will add is speech recognition. So the goal is to be able to recognize my voice. Okay, so now I have my two buttons. One would be used to record the input in Polish and translate it into French, and the other one will do it just the other way around. And the text will appear here. Okay, so we have these two buttons. And now we will start writing the functions for the speech recognition. Okay, so now I've implemented speech recognition. So I'm not coding in real time because I'm still, it's still very hard to edit for me. I created the app before actually creating this video, so it's easier for me to explain everything. So basically, now the feature is implemented, so we can test it. So if I press the French button and I speak in French, bonjour, comment ça va? We can see that what I'm saying is written. So that's great. We still don't have translation yet. What is interesting to notice is that the first thing that happens is here in the button. When I press with the button, when I click and I hold, it starts recognition, and we know that the source language is French. So the browser needs to know what is the source language to be able to transcribe it into text. And when I release, when I mouse up, which means like I stop clicking on the button, it stops the speech recognition and writes the sentence. So this is pretty nice. Now what we want to do is actually use the Google Translate API to have this text translated into Polish, and we'll try to do this in real time, meaning while I'm talking, it's translating. So we don't have to wait until the end of the sentence to have a translation. Okay, so now the translation is working. So basically what is happening is that when I press the button, my browser is listening to my voice, transcribing into text, and at the same time, while the text is typed, it will send it as a request to Google Translate, and Google Translate will return at the same time the translation in Polish in the next field. So I can show you right now what it looks like. Bonjour, comment tu t'appelles? Okay, so we have a nice translation. Let's try it the other way around. Co gotujesz? Yep. So it recognized what I said. The translation is a bit shitty, but I guess maybe it's not translating exactly what I said, but it's working, which is very nice. Okay. So now there's one thing missing. I want the app to to be able to talk to me. So basically read the translation to myself, because of course the script is nice, but maybe I don't know how it's pronounced, or maybe I can just not read it. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, and now the last part of the app, I'm using the text-to-speech API from Responsive Voice. So to sum up again, when I'm talking to the browser, it's transcribing what I'm saying into text, into characters. Then this text is sent to Google. Google returns the translation, and then the browser with this API, with this service that I'm calling from somewhere else, will read out loud the translation. So you see, it's not very complicated. So let's try it right now. So let's try a sentence in French. Comment vas-tu, mon ami?
Jak się masz, mój przyjacielu?
And it's working. So that's very nice. So now let's play with it. Marta,
Jest.
say something in Polish very loud.
Nie ma w domu bakłażanów.
Il n'y a pas d'aubergine dans la maison.
We just bought one. So you see, it's working. Now I can finally talk to my girlfriend. So that's it for this video. I mean, for this explanation part. I hope this technology is a little bit more clear for you. It was very interesting for me to use it, and I realized that it was actually easier than I thought. Even if I started making something overly complicated in the beginning, this is not very hard to implement. If you would like to have some of these features on your app or website, please call me. This is my job, and I will gladly help you improve your product for language learning. Okay, see you. Bye.